Yeah, you can't expect a child to do that twice a day and feel safe apart from anything else and be ready to work at school. It's a ludicrous situation. This has actually got down to a question of principle as much as anything, because no parent wants to let their child walk that walk. But, you know, the council's get-out clause of that route is safe is ridiculous. And anybody, there are places where you can't actually get a vehicle and a person past. So you imagine 10 kids walking to school down that lane on a dark day. You know, it doesn't beggars belief, really, honestly. The fast van is just the sort of thing you need to worry about because, you know, they need a lot of delivery drivers around here racing around, fulfilling their orders, and only takes one, because there's no signs on that road saying warning children in carriageway or anything along those lines. It's so you need one guy who's not quite on the ball, looking at his sat nav instead of where he's going, stuff like that.
Hot and bothered, and I wouldn't like to think that I've got to go in now and be prepared and be ready for learning, and then the thought of walking home again at 2:30 and the thought of coming back again tomorrow. It was quite a hair-raising experience, that one this morning, I've got to say. There are farm machinery that use it as well. Yeah, it's quite hair-raising. We've done it in all weathers, all conditions, so we've shown every angle. The Ombudsman are looking into it, which is fantastic, and hopefully they will see sense. Basically, we'd like the guidelines changed. I think it's £84 a term per child. Some parents have got 3 or 4 children. It's not the money issue, it's not the exercise, because a lot of people say that the children need the exercise. It's the fact that road is deemed safe when it clearly isn't.
Try it now. Not everybody does it, because not everybody looks in the mirrors. Lorry drivers are usually a very good ally of ours, and they can spot what's going on, they can see what we're trying to do, so they do actually help us out with manoeuvring themselves into positions where they stop people passing and all that sort of thing. So yeah, they tend to be a good friend of ours.
Changing the tyre, maybe.
Right, I shall now push the 6 button, which marks us as seen. Which way are you going to go?
Go to the next junction, up to the next one. Services and your good lady and little one in there. Then take those all off. Being prepared beforehand. When we're talking about he should have had a spanner and the others. No, it's it probably. I was too late when I saw the scene.
Was it an over? Can we go over and back on the other side?
Which direction was the BDV, sorry?
First game, played some nice words, played Ganymede for 90, I played Bistained through 2 separate letters, which is always nice to settle you in, but there is nobody really in this room in the top division who you'll classify as a chump, so every win is good.
How mentally tiring is it when you finish the day of Scrabble playing so many games?
It's incredibly tiring, and I think people who maybe just sit at home and play once a year with their grandmother at Christmas don't realise. Over the next 4 days, we're going to be playing 35 games of highly intense Scrabble. Each game will last around 50 minutes, so in those 4 days we're playing about 1.5 days worth of solid Scrabble, and you'll play against the best players on the planet, so your concentration levels have to stay sky high. So I crash at the end of the day, go home, go to bed at 9 o'clock.
Well, it's been pretty hard work, especially on the farm. The animals aren't too keen. aren't too keen on the snow, so it's been very hard work just trying to feed up and stuff. Obviously we haven't had any water, so we bought everything from in here and we're going back to my boyfriend's parents. So
I'm just about to take that car out, the Freelander, for the first time because it was banked, the snow was right up here. So, in fact, a local farmer came round with a digger and dug it out for me yesterday afternoon. So even if I had a four-wheel drive, I couldn't get it out.
But everybody's banded together and been really good and looking out for their neighbours, so it's been really nice. Today was the first day I could actually get my car out of our road, so it's been nice. Nice to get back to normality now, yeah. It'd be nice to get out of the village. I haven't been out of the village for 4 days, so. About the height of my 3-year-old. It was drifts. It was more drifts than actual, full coverage. So the roads were just really, really icy. But yeah, there were some really big drifts that was making it really dangerous to get anywhere.
We've opened every day except for Friday because we had a burst pipe on Friday. So that kind of put us out of action for a day. But other than that, we've been open sort of main trading hours, so 12 till 6 sort of. But there's just been nobody in the village to serve really, except for a few locals. We've done a few meals each day, but nothing that you'd normally get if it snowed on Dartmoor. But we've been okay. Today's been a lot better than yesterday. The only problem is we couldn't get the supplies in.
After reading the final report into Coco's death in full, which has been extremely distressing and actually a further burden to bear, I am appalled by the level and magnitude of failings from the moment Coco entered Trelisk on Tuesday the 25th of July. Our beautiful little girl did not stand a chance. In July last year, Coco was living her best life ever. She was happy and healthy and absolutely loving life. She loved learning, really, really loved learning. She loved the beach, swimming, eating chocolate, listening to music all the time, especially Justin Bieber and Little Mix. She was at mainstream school and we had just secured a groundbreaking education and healthcare plan with funding by the local authority for her ABA therapy. Then Coco became ill and due to the multiple failings by certain members of staff in this hospital, she died 8 days later and she never got to live the life she so deserved. Coco was an inspiration to others, a life changer, and she would definitely have grown up to be a world changer. She amazed us every single day. I cannot and will not ever forgive those individuals we hold responsible for Coco's death. They know who they are and they should be utterly ashamed of themselves. To then later find out they blame Coco, her autism, and for being uncooperative and non-compliant to excuse their own incompetence is unforgivable. For the record, Coco was neither uncooperative or non-compliant. In fact, at one stage, Coco had 13 flags, 5 for clinical dehydration and 8 for clinical shock, and not one was acted upon. And actually, when you consider there is a team dedicated to patients with learning disabilities and or autism that leads with the following statement: we offer support for patients with learning disabilities and autism spectrum conditions. We help make sure individuals with a learning disability in hospital get high quality services, real choice and control over their care. Failed on every point.
we have today formally received an independent report into the care and treatment of Coco Rose Bradford. We have fully accepted the report's findings and will report our progress against every one of its recommendations publicly at our trust boards. Coco is a 6-year-old little girl who was in our care on 2 occasions in July 2017. On the first occasion, she was reviewed in the emergency department and sent home, and on the second occasion, she was on one of our paediatric wards for 3 days. Coco was transferred from Royal Cornwall Hospitals to Bristol Children's Hospital on the 28th of July 2017, where she died on the 31st of July. The report describes a series of failures in care and missed opportunities in treating Coco at a time when her death could have been avoided and her symptoms treated. We know that Coco's family, and in particular Rachel, Luke, Chelsea, Ellie and Bianca, have fought to get the full facts of the case. We will continue to work with them to try to fully understand why we failed and to make sure that Coco's legacy for all children in Cornwall is that this never happens again. The whole trust in our community in Cornwall will be saddened when they read the report. The care described is not reflective of general care on our children's wards, and we have sought and will continue to seek external scrutiny of our services so that local people can be confident that we are safe and effective in the care of children in Cornwall. It is, however, vital today that we accept and acknowledge the fact that for Coco and her family we weren't good enough, and for that we apologise unreservedly.
Hello, I'm Andrew George. I was former MP and a member of the Health Select Committee, and we're here today campaigning to save our NHS. We're working under the campaign slogan 20% more by 2020. We believe that as clinicians, people across parties and non-party believe that the NHS as present is unsustainable. The government's announcement is hardly going to paper over the cracks within the service, and we need to have some substantial investment in order to save the NHS. Sign our petitions, support the campaign. We believe that our NHS deserves more.
I don't think it's ever been more serious than it is now. The way that the government seems to be taking us is further and further away from the NHS's founding principles, and it worries me profoundly.
To sustain our NHS in the way that we have become accustomed to, we seriously need to think about what we're going to do. So it was only 3 years ago that Jeremy Hunt promised us 5,000 more GPs, and we're now 3 years on, and guess what? There are actually 1,000 less GPs than there were then.
I can only think we have to shout from the rooftops, and everybody needs to. I don't think people are taking it seriously enough at the moment.
That's why it is with great pride that I can announce that we will be basing the Type 26 Global Combat Ships here in Devonport. This will be an important part of the future for our Royal Navy. This is a £3.7 billion investment in these new ships, with a fourth one just being named HMS Birmingham.
I do feel for them, and the public have been very, very supportive, and I'd like to thank the residents in this area and of Truro and visitors to the city for their patience and their forbearance with us while we've run this police operation, and I cannot thank them enough on behalf of my officers.
As far as you're concerned, then, a job well done?
A job well done. It took its time, but it's ended safely with no injuries to any individual, and that's all we can hope for.
What we now have is an infrared illuminator which floods the couple hundred yards at the rear, or if not further than that, at the rear of the speed detection van, which effectively makes it, from the camera's point of view, almost the same as operating in daylight. But it does still surprise me the amount of people we catch speeding on a daily basis. We process somewhere in the region of 1,000 plus speeding offences a month.
Well, there's one thing to look at. I've got my life. That's the main thing, yeah. Things are things, you can replace them. You'll never replace your life, you only have the one. No, I couldn't get any clothes or anything. And this is the first time I have walked up painting in a dressing gown.
You know, it's a sad sight for the people of Paynton. We've lost a chip shop at the moment, but thankfully our crews have worked really hard to actually contain the fire to the building of origin. We've got 16 fire engines here, we've got 2 aerial ladder platforms, 111 firefighters plus great assistance from the police and the ambulance. So yeah, we've got brilliant support from the British Red Cross this evening. We're looking to house, we believe, 5 people who've been, their flats have been affected by both the fire and water. We've had 2 minor casualties just through smoke inhalation. They've been checked over by the ambulance and they seem to be fine.
Feeling good, thank you. Feeling good. Good weather. Think I've designed a good show. Looking forward to see what the public think of it, and of course the judges.
Very much so. How much preparation has gone into this?
Probably man hours, 200 at least, plus the designing. That's taken probably a week to design. I always try and put a little bit of something different into my shows. So we've got some noise in there because I'm a fan of the Spanish type display. I think it's a matter about being eclectic with it, not just being the same old, same old. I'd like to think within my sequence and my show there'll be some good points in there that people will love and maybe haven't seen before. It does mean a lot, but I'm quite cool with it. I'm all right, no pressure, don't feel any pressure.